What's going on, everybody? Austin Got Figs here, and I'm bringing you the June 13th, 2025 Smackdown recap. We're going to go in depth on everything that happened in this show. I'm going to give my thoughts and overall opinions on it, where I think things could go from there. And yeah, I mean, just pretty much giving my thoughts on the show, informing you guys on everything that happened. And also, if there's something that I may have not talked about for some reason, let me know all that down in the comments, and I'll be sure to add that stuff in the next coming videos, of course. But without further ado, let's jump right on into the recap. Alright, so to kick off this show, we obviously did have the Never Seen 17 John Cena obviously come out and pretty much give, as he's been doing over his pretty much entire world tour, just giving us a rundown on pretty much how he feels about us, the fans, and obviously how he feels about his potential next competitors. Now, this segment was kind of long, so I'm just going to give really the main points of it. Really, the first thing that actually John Cena had stated in his promo, he basically had given his Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and obviously being the selfish John Cena that he is right now, he said John Cena, John Cena, John Cena, John Cena. Yeah. Come on, John. You're not the only one that should be up there, alright? Get that through your skull, Cena. Come on, Cena. Get that through your skull. Come on, man. But yeah, so Cena had basically just came out and started off with that, and just showing that, I mean, he continues to care less about anybody else on the roster and can care less how good they are. You know, completely finds the rest of the roster practically irrelevant compared to him, obviously, because, I mean, he's John Cena. And this version of John Cena thinks he's higher than everybody, thinks he's greater than everybody, so he can care less about anybody else's talent or any of the talent in the back or in the locker room, of course, or just across the entire WWE roster. Also, John Cena had also mentioned that if CM Punk did want the Undisputed Championship, then he would have to admit that he's obviously a hypocrite, because obviously being the John Cena that John Cena is now, obviously he wants people to admit when obviously their wrongdoings, but he doesn't want to admit his, of course. So and obviously CM Punk is obviously John Cena's next opponent for the title, obviously at Night of Champions. But yeah, so John Cena basically just wanted CM Punk to admit that he was a hypocrite and have CM Punk admit his wrongdoings, while Cena doesn't admit his, because obviously Cena's done a lot of wrongdoings during this heel run, of course. But yeah, that part of it just continues to show that John Cena just pretty much thinks that he does nothing wrong and he's doing everything right, but he thinks that other people should obviously admit their wrongdoings, even though he won't admit his, obviously. Towards the end of his promo, obviously, we did have LA Knight come out, which I was kind of shocked about. I wasn't really expecting that, and pretty much all LA Knight got to really say that was important was, and if I got to drop a genius balding B word, John Cena, I will be the WWE champion. And obviously LA Knight had stated that. And then after that, John Cena walked out, basically. John Cena literally said nothing and walked out. And then, yeah, I mean, really the only takeaway from that statement from LA Knight is the fact that he's obviously coming for gold. He wants gold, and it's clear as day just from that line right there that LA Knight wants gold, and it doesn't even matter which top tier title, whether it be the World Heavyweight title or John Cena's title, he's coming for gold, basically. That's really the only takeaway from that line. That LA Knight had stated there. But like I did mention, John Cena obviously did start walking out, and as he was walking out, he was pretty much at the front of the entrance, and Ron Killings, or R-Truth, whatever you want to call him now, he obviously had attacked John Cena. And obviously that continues to show this more, I wouldn't say heel side of R-Truth, but more serious and more radical side of R-Truth, of course. Obviously attacking people from behind. I mean, that's not the normal R-Truth thing. So with this new Ron Killings and R-Truth, whatever you want to call him, he obviously is more radicalized. So he's going to do what he needs to do to shut people like John Cena up, basically. So I think that obviously that was cool to see. Obviously, I mean, it's always cool to see R-Truth, honestly, bro. So I mean, I did think that was cool that he obviously did come out and attack John Cena, obviously building more of a R-Truth character, basically. So that was pretty cool. And for the overall, it was just John Cena's segment there at the start of the show. It was pretty good. You know, nothing. I wouldn't say anything that special, but you know, pretty good. You know, just mediocre at best. I would say. I mean, I don't want to be a downer on it. I mean, it's obviously, it includes John Cena, so it's definitely good in some sense. Just, I don't think anything too crazy really happened here, but that's just me personally. But without further ado, let's jump into the next part of the show. All right, moving on. This was actually just a little segment that was pretty much in between in between matches. Basically, it was right after John Cena's promo after he got attacked obviously by Ron Killings, R-Truth, whatever you want to call him. Basically, John Cena had went irate at Nick Aldis because Ron Killings had obviously jumped him, and Cena was just pissed off that R-Truth, Ron Killings, came out and hit him and attacked him from behind. Obviously, John Cena didn't like that. That moment obviously provoked John Cena in some sense, that he obviously went over and started being radical against the obviously SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. So yeah, I mean that really just a little segment there in between matches. You know, obviously, like I said, John Cena pissed at R-Truth, and that's really the only takeaway from this part of the show. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of known that John Cena's probably pissed at R-Truth since he attacked him. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, this John Cena and Ron Killings thing build up, of course, which we're going to get even more. We're going to get even deeper into the whole John Cena and Ron Killings thing deeper as we get further forward into the recap, of course. But yeah, that's really all that happened in this part of the show. But now let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Alright, so our first match of the night, actually, we obviously did have a Men's King of the Ring qualifying tournament, between Randy Orton, Carmelo Hayes, Aleister Black, and LA Knight. And man, I'm kind of pissed and upset that LA Knight didn't win, bro. Why was LA Knight not winning this? I think LA Knight absolutely deserved this. But of course, Randy did end up getting the win, you know. That's not even hate towards Randy, because Randy is a great star. I love Randy, dude. Randy is awesome. It's cool to see him win. But just right now, I don't think this was necessary for Randy to win this. I truly don't. I think LA Knight definitely should have won this qualifying match. It just sucks that it wasn't booked that way, of course. It sucks that Randy did win, but like I said, no hate towards Randy. It's just, in my opinion, not the greatest booking decision. But I don't want to be too much of a downer, because it is Randy Orton. And like I said again, or time and time again, it's cool to see Randy pick up wins and get victories, you know. It's always cool to see that. Just obviously sucks that LA Knight ended up losing, sorry. Now, as far as the overall match, I thought it was pretty good. You know, I thought it was a decent match as far as in-ring. It was pretty cool in my opinion. I did like when Randy Orton was going for the vintage Randy Orton with the DDT on the ropes to Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes, and then LA Knight had came up behind Randy Orton, hit him with the little neck breaker, which caused obviously Randy to get hurt, and obviously the impact of the Randy Orton DDTs to Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes. So I did think that move was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that from LA Knight. So it just kind of something that I thought was pretty cool, and obviously something to be intrigued about. So, but yeah, as far as the actual in-ring part of this match, it was pretty good. You know, nothing. I wouldn't say anything special. I mean, obviously it was cool. Again, Randy is obviously back or returning from because you haven't seen him since obviously Backlash. But yeah, like I said, as far as the in-ring goes, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the greatest, but it was still pretty good. Nothing special though. But yeah, like I said, Randy Orton did win. Unfortunately, LA Knight lost. That's really all there is to cover about this match, really. And nothing really that was major to cover from this match. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the next part of the show. All right, now, one of the segments that we've all been waiting for, I think, since Money in the Bank, obviously, because at Money in the Bank, Jacob Fatu had turned on Solo Sikoa during Solo Sikoa's Money in the Bank ladder match, and obviously, Jacob Fatu had stopped Solo from winning. And so, tonight, here on Smackdown, we did have we had the Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa promo. So, This segment was pretty good, dude. I really enjoyed this segment, and this was something I was looking forward to as soon as I saw Jacob Fatu turn on Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank. One thing to obviously note from this segment, of course, obviously Solo Sikoa had ended up telling Jacob Fatu that he wants to hear 4 words, and those 4 words being, "I love you, Solo." Obviously, Jacob Fatu will never say those words again. It will forever, from this point in time, and for the ever foreseeing existence, it will always be, "I hate you, Solo." 100% Jacob Fatu, never going back with Solo. Jacob Fatu is going to be on this Solo run for a while, and I just, from how they're booking him, I could just see that Jacob Fatu is not going to be on a team anytime soon, most likely. But yeah, that's really one of the main takeaways from this segment. Obviously, after that, really, I don't. Jacob Fatu had that was pretty much the end of the segment after Solo had said that. That was about so. It wasn't the greatest segment, but it was something that I was looking forward to personally, so I thought it was pretty good. But nothing special. I think we'll get more into this whole Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa thing as obviously the weeks go on. And we'll probably even get more of it next Smackdown, next week. We'll probably get a lot more of this. But yeah, that's really the main takeaway from this whole Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa thing that we did see here tonight. Yeah, but without further ado, let's jump into the next part of the show, shall we? All right, traversing away from that part of the show, we did have the Queen of the Ring women's qualifier tournament match tonight. Obviously, the participants in this were Jade Cargill, Michin, Piper Niven, and Nia Jax. And obviously, like it should have been, Jade Cargill did pick up the victory, so it was very cool to see that Jade Cargill is obviously advancing. I think Jade Cargill is really a threat and is probably the most likely possibility, in my opinion, to honestly win this Queen of the Ring. I think overall Jade Cargill will definitely probably win the entire tournament. So yeah, it was cool to see Jade Cargill move on. Honestly, that was really who I did want to win this match, of course. Now, as far as the in-ring, again, I wouldn't say anything too special, but that's just me. It's, pretty like the men's one. I mean, it was okay, not bad, not the greatest thing. But yeah, not bad, there was some good in-ring aspect to it, it wasn't just a flop. It was definitely a decent and pretty good, decent match. My bad. It was a decent match, all right. But like I said, cool. Jade Cargill advanced. I can't wait to see her actually win this entire tournament, because that's really my pick for this entire tournament for the Queen of the Ring. Is obviously Jade Cargill. I think she deserves it the most. I think she's just looking at the other combatants. I just don't see anybody really being a huge threat except maybe Alexa Bliss, and that would be cool to see too. It would be cool to see Alexa Bliss win as well. But that's who I think will probably be in the finals of the Queen of the Ring, actually. It'll probably just be Jade Cargill and Alexa Bliss. But that's getting off track. Like I said, cool Jade Cargill advanced. As far as the in-ring aspect of this match went, it was not the greatest, not the worst. It was decent, all right? Yeah, that's about it for this part of the show. Let's jump into the next part. All right, moving on, we did have the new Miss Money in the Bank, Naomi, proceed with caution. She had obviously came out tonight on Smackdown, and pretty much she had talked about Tiffany Stratton like she should, basically saying that she's gonna be the blockade around Tiffany Stratton, because obviously Naomi having this plot device, that being obviously the Money in the Bank briefcase, that completely puts Tiffany Stratton in danger at any time. So obviously Naomi came out, had just told the crowd and told Tiffany Stratton herself, because also Tiffany Stratton was out here as well. I did forget to mention that. Tiffany Stratton did come out here as well. So yeah, Naomi basically just addressed the fact that I'm basically saying that I will take your title, Tiffany, and don't feel too comfortable because I'm around. I have the Money in the Bank briefcase, basically. That was kind of the whole thing that this part of the show was showing was meant for, just to show express Naomi's feelings about Tiffany Stratton, sort of, and what she plans to do, obviously, with Tiffany Stratton, of course. So I think this part was pretty cool, just to get a feel for what Naomi's looking to do with the whole Tiffany Stratton situation and the whole Money in the Bank. So this part of the show was cool to see that. Obviously, Naomi was the one to obviously actually end up walking out first. And as obviously Naomi was walking out, Nia Jax had actually attacked Tiffany Stratton from behind, and I was kind of confused because I thought we were low-key done with the whole Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax thing. I didn't really want to see this again. If I'm being completely honest, I did not want to see Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton for a while, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I understand. I mean, it's Nia Jax, but I just don't think that part was needed. But that's just me, you know. Maybe it was needed. Maybe there's just something that I'm not thinking about, or really, you know, maybe Nia Jax attacking Tiffany was the right call. I just don't think it was needed. But as you know, as far as the whole Naomi and Tiffany thing went here, that was cool to see what Naomi obviously had to say to not only us but Tiffany Stratton herself. And like I said, as far as Nia Jax attacking Tiffany Stratton went, I didn't think that was needed. That could have been completely scratched from the show, in my opinion. But that's just me. Y'all obviously leave me your thoughts. Maybe you think that was a good call down in the comments, of course. But now let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? All right. So proceeding away from that, we did have John Cena actually come out again and request that R-Truth bring his ass pretty much down to the ring with John Cena, and John Cena wanted to fight Ron Killings, obviously. Now, obviously, that is not what ended up happening. In fact, Ron Killings didn't come out at all in this part of the show. In fact, CM Punk, who is John Cena's obviously next opponent for the at least title at Night of Champions. So yeah, no Ron Killings here, like Cena requested. CM Punk had actually came out, which was pretty cool because I did want to see something that built off of what we saw on Monday Night Raw with actually starting the feud between CM Punk and John Cena, of course. So two things to really note from this part of the show. Obviously, well, actually, maybe three things here. Obviously, CM Punk continues to say that he's obviously going to take down Cena. Pretty much, he's going to. He vows to take down Cena, take the title off of him. Another thing to note is that CM Punk wanted John Cena to give us, the fans, a happy ending. Pretty much, basically, turning face, explaining why he did it, and explaining why he did what he did. Explaining why he is this heel, why he was this heel guy, why he had these intentions of being evil in a sense to us and some of the and not only us, but just the entire franchise of just wrestling in general. So yeah, that's another thing to note there. And then really the last thing to note here, which I think is the most important thing to note, was that CM Punk had actually said that that Cena was actually following in his footsteps, which I thought was I thought that was like a great line to add in there, because obviously, let's think here. John Cena is vowing to keep the strap being the Undisputed Championship, and leave the WWE with it. Completely take it out of WWE and leave wrestling, leave WWE with the strap, basically. And if we think about it, that's what CM Punk tried to do back in the day, obviously, and I shouldn't even say tried. He actually did. He did do that. So it was cool to see kind of CM Punk get under Cena's skin with that comment there. He basically saying that you're following in my footsteps, but yet you call me a hypocrite. So I thought that was pretty cool there. I think just cool digging up history and even nostalgia for some people, of course. Obviously, if you know, you know, of course. If you're watching wrestling back in the day, like 10 years, obviously, that's probably nostalgic for you, of course. But yeah, I think that was a pretty cool thing to add in there, of course. Just that line, I think, really built something there. You know, really really combined things together, really built some heavy tension there. I think that was a very impactful statement from CM Punk there, and that really is going to help progress this whole feud here a lot more, I think. So yeah, those are really the main three things to note here between CM Punk and John Cena. So I wouldn't say anything. You know, I would say this was a pretty good segment. You know, it wasn't a bad segment at all. I think that it definitely had some good meaning to it. Of course, it wasn't a waste. Of course, because it wasn't a waste of a segment. It was a good segment. Not a super impactful, not a super great segment. I mean, we've seen those before. This wasn't a super great segment, but it was obviously a good segment. You know, it was cool to, like I said, it was cool to see what CM Punk obviously had to say to John Cena and what John Cena had to say to CM Punk. But that really does it for this part of the show. But now let's jump into the next part of the show. Alright, so moving on from that, we did have Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss versus Alba Fire versus Candice LeRae. And obviously this was a Queen of the Ring qualifying match, of course. And like it should have been, Alexa Bliss did pick up this win, which I was so hyped and happy about. I'm so glad Alexa did move on. She was definitely my pick to win this match personally. I mean, Candice LeRae, there's no need to bring her any deeper into this right at this point in time. Alba Fire, pretty much same thing with her, and Charlotte Flair, well, nobody likes Charlotte Flair, let's be honest. I mean, seriously, dude, really, nobody likes Charlotte. Let's be just completely honest. All right, come on. So yeah, it was cool to see Alexa Bliss actually end up winning this. I obviously always cool to see her progress in her career and just see her advance and excel in her matches and just things that she does in general. As far as an in-ring aspect of this match, I think just kind of like really the other matches that we had tonight, not bad, not super amazing, just good. You know, it was good. It wasn't terrible, not the greatest, but it was good. All right. I mean, that's really it. I mean, yeah, Alexa Bliss advances, awesome. Again, in-ring, not bad, not super amazing, but it was good. It was good. Just really that really covers it for there. But yeah, like I said, that covers it for there. Now let's jump into the last part of the show. All right, now in our main event, we did have Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest versus Andrade versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and obviously this was a King of the Ring qualifying match that we had. That was this match, of course. And obviously Cody Rhodes actually did end up winning because, I mean, let's look at the other combatants here. Damian Priest, well, he's going after the United States title. He's already said that many times. Andrade, I mean, it would have been cool, but I don't think it was needed. And obviously Nakamura, well, nobody cares. Let's be honest. At least I don't care. I don't know if there's a single Nakamura fan right now, but that's just me. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm just personally not a Nakamura fan there. Now one thing I do want to note about this match. It was cool to obviously see Andrade being implemented. I think I'm starting to like Andrade a little bit more. You know, I'm starting to actually pay more attention towards him. Yeah. So it was cool to see him in another match tonight. Obviously, I knew he wasn't going to win. I really knew that Cody was going to end up winning. But, you know, it was at least cool to see him implemented in this match. And as far as Priest goes, I mean, it's always cool to see him implemented as well. But yeah, Cody Rhodes did end up winning this match, and he did advance. So, you know, we actually did see the using of a table, of course. Cody Rhodes actually went through the table. Nakamura had kicked him off the apron, and Cody Rhodes had obviously fallen into the Slim Jim table. But yeah, Cody Rhodes advances. As far as the in-ring goes, I think this is definitely the better of the matches, in my opinion, that we did have tonight. I think this was definitely a better match. Yeah. I think this match was one of the better ones that we had seen here tonight, but that's just me. Like I said, that's just me personally. Yeah, Cody Rhodes advances in ring. As far as the whole match itself, it was definitely one of the better ones we had here tonight. And that really covers it for the main event. I mean that's really it there. But yeah, I think that is going to wrap up the June 13th, 2025 Smackdown recap. I didn't want to be too harsh on things, but I just personally did not enjoy. I mean, I enjoyed the show, but it just wasn't. It didn't hit here like some other episodes have recently. So I just think this episode of WWE Smackdown, you know, just in general, was just I wouldn't say a mood killer, but it was definitely a downgrade, at least in my opinion, from things that we've seen recently out of just Raws and Smackdowns. But yeah, that's just me. I mean, obviously, you guys leave me your thoughts down in the comments, of course, you know. But yeah, that is going to wrap up our June 13th, 2025 SmackDown recap. If you did enjoy the video and you want to see more content like this, obviously you can just go to my page, of course. There's many videos for y'all to watch. If you do want to see more upcoming videos, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and even turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I post a video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Alright, everybody, I know that last scene you did just see was supposed to be the end of the video, but I actually left out an entire match. I don't usually do that, so that was completely my fault. I completely left out an entire match of the show, so we're actually going to cover that real quick right here, right now. This match was obviously the Wyatt Six versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Obviously, the reason this match came about was because obviously the entire tag division, the entire SmackDown tag division, besides the Wyatt Six, like Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and all them, they want to take down the Wyatt Six because the Wyatt Six is being portrayed as the biggest threat of the roster right now. They're being portrayed as sort of the demons, if you will, of just the entire tag division. So the Motor City Machine Guns were obviously the first ones to obviously go up against this the Wyatt Six. You know, the first ones to try to take down and stop the Wyatt Six from rising to the top, of course, of the tag division. As far as in ring, pretty good in my opinion. You know, not bad. I think this match was pretty cool to see, just to see the Wyatt Six implemented again into matches, of course. Of course, building more towards the portrayal of the Wyatt Six, obviously being shown as villains, the villains of the tag team division on SmackDown, being portrayed as those the higher power that is destined to obviously take everything that they can on SmackDown, pretty much. That really sums it up there. Like I said, the Wyatt Six obviously did end up winning here, of course. Was not expecting them to lose at all, honestly. And the Wyatt Six have no reason to lose. They need to keep winning, actually, in my opinion. But that really wraps it up for that match. Yeah, that wraps it up for that match. Wyatt Six won, like I said, and that's really about it that happened for this match. Like I did say in the last clip, towards the end, if you do want to see more videos like these, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and even turn on post notifications so you do get notified every time I post a video. It's been Austin Got Figs, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.